Hey folks, welcome back to my channel. This is just going to be the latest installment of my kitchen magic. And I'm here today with my first guest for the kitchen magic portion of playlist of the channel. This is Liz Kearney.
Hello.
Thank you so much again for agreeing to be a guest appearance on this, Liz. I want to call you a guest star.
Oh, thank you. Wow.
And so Liz and I go back a few years. I think it's been maybe like 4 years now. Does that sound right? From 2020 or 2019?
Yeah, definitely.
And we met during some of the uprisings around George Floyd and Breonna Taylor's deaths and murder at the hands of police. Simultaneous to that in our community, we were attending actions around those traumas. And then also in our community, our local juvenile detention center in our community had a long-running contract for many years with ICE, Immigration and Customs Enforcement in the United States. And we found out during all of this period of time that our local juvenile justice system was incarcerating undocumented youth indefinitely.
Yep.
Some of the youth had been incarcerated for well over a year, had still never gone before a judge, were separated from their families and living in an carceral reality. And Liz, along with me and many other community activists, organized and successfully pushed the county. I like to claim credit for it. I think that our
100%.
community, the county never wanted to say that it was because of our work. But ultimately, because of our work, and we put a lot of pressure on them on all levels, they say that it takes all different kinds of actions, and we were part of that. We did in-person, on-the-ground, bodies in the streets action together. We did applying pressure at city council meetings together. We did a lot of
county commissioner meetings.
Yeah,
Tuesday mornings.
Totally, county commissioner, not city council. I mix that up sometimes.
No, that's good.
And we succeeded as a community, and this is a small, rural, conservative community. Nevertheless, we succeeded as a small group in forcing our county to end that contract, and it's work I'm still really proud of.
Yes.
And I'm honored to know you.
I'm honored to know you too, Cynthia.
And Liz, just for a little bit of background on Liz too, Liz previously was a pastor for the local Presbyterian church and was in that role when we met. So I always think of you as a liberation theologist. I don't know if you would say that about yourself, but
it's definitely the people whose footsteps I follow in, and I try to live that out where we are.
Really wonderful.
Yeah.
And so now she's not necessarily doing pastoral work for the Presbyterian Church anymore, but is in a different role doing community justice work. And do you want to say a little bit about what you've been doing for Gaza before we start on this meal?
Yeah, I would love to.
Great.
And thanks for that introduction, Cynthia.
Yeah.
I'm very proud to know you too.
Thank you.
And I'm still an ordained minister in the Presbyterian Church USA. However, that's not where my paid work is right now. What I've been doing recently, what I love is community organizing. That's what I love. And some of the organizing I've been involved with recently has been with Christians for a Free Palestine.
Nice.
And they are a national coalition with like a local Washington group who have been organizing to stop arming Israel, to stop sending our tax dollars to fund a genocide in Gaza.
Nice.
To push our officials to call for an immediate and permanent ceasefire in Gaza, and to fund the UNRWA, which is really the best vehicle that we have for getting desperately needed humanitarian aid to Palestinians in Gaza. So
awesome.
I've been part of some actions up in Seattle with that group, and then also here locally pressuring Representative Marie Gluesenkamp-Perez, who has a horrific record of giving unconditional support to Israel.
Boo.
Yeah, boo. And not listening to her constituents who don't want our Congressional District 3 tax dollars spent that way. So that's a lot of the stuff. Oh, and I recently traveled to Washington, D.C., where I was part of some actions there, specifically pushing back on Christians United for Israel, which is the largest pro-Israel organization in the country, larger than any Jewish organization. It's a Christian Zionist organization which has some really, really toxic theology, and is the primary driver of the genocide that's happening in Gaza and the occupation of Palestine by the Israeli government. So
is there anywhere I kind of putting you on the spot. I didn't tell you I was going to ask, but where should someone look for more about that if they want to know more about that?
Absolutely. If you head to, if you just Google Christians for a Free Palestine, you will find their website.
Okay.
And that's a great, they have some resources to connect you to information about Christian Zionism specifically and what we can do in our own communities to be resisting Christian Zionism, which is deeply, deeply embedded within white Christian nationalism more largely, which we know is hurting us, all the people we love, and it's so many of the things that we want to dismantle in our community so we can build up a community of care where we take care of each other. And
awesome. Thank you so much, Liz,
for
for sharing
about it.
Very much. Yeah, thank you. And so now tell me a little bit about this dish that we're going to be making today.
Yes. So this is my mom's baked omelet dish. I can picture the recipe book in my head that she has used when it has like some little food stains on it, because this is a meal that a dish that my family has for breakfast pretty much every time when we are all together.
Nice. So lots of nice memories, I'm guessing.
So many nice memories. Lots of like holiday mornings. Lots of just times when we were all together. And it's a really simple dish, which is nice when you have everybody together. There's a lot of chaos, like beautiful chaos going on. So it's nice to have something that you can just whip together, but it's super delicious, very fun to look at when you pull it out of the oven. Nice. You'll see that later, hopefully.
Awesome, yeah.
And it's simple. So it's got a dozen eggs, a cup of milk. It calls for 4 cups of cheese, which
That's a lot
is
of cheese.
A whole lot of cheese. I just kind of go until I feel like stopping when I'm grating the cheese in. And then just to taste, salt, black pepper, and hot sauce. My hot sauce today is green pepper sauce from Tabasco, which is one of my favorites. And then another thing I love about this recipe is you can kind of just like throw in stuff that you have around. Like I think you could probably throw greens into this if you have it around, because you blend it all in a blender.
Okay.
We often put salsa on the top of it, but you could probably put salsa in the dish. I like to put inside the blender diced green chilies.
I love green chilies.
Yeah, it gives it like such a nice little spicy flavor.
Wonderful. Excellent. So while you're cooking, at some point while you're doing just the tasks of cracking the eggs, I'll probably talk a little bit about, I gathered some history for the magic portion of this dish around the use of eggs in spirituality and in witchcraft, and then also around black pepper. So I'll go into that a little bit at a lull in the cooking. But so for now, we'll go ahead and cut this, and then I'll resume filming while you're in process of kind of getting this together. So thanks.
Thank you.
All right, so here I am getting creative with the shots.
Yay!
Tell me about where we are starting here with this recipe.
Okay, well, I have preheated the oven to 325, or at least it's supposed to be 325. Let me make sure that's happening. Now it's going to 325. Should be there momentarily.
Yeah, perfect.
First, I'm going to go ahead and take some nonstick spray. I'm trying not to hose you down with this. It's pretty important to spray it pretty well, because part of the fun of this dish is that the egg like rises out, and you want it really greased on the side so that it has no friction trying to come out of the pan.
Oh, nice. That's a good
So
tip.
I'm gonna,
like a souffle kind of.
yeah, it ends up looking like it doesn't end up staying that way for very long, but it's fun when you first take it out of it. It's like, wow, souffle. So that is prepped for us, and then my blender is kind of destroyed at this point, but it still works, so I haven't gotten rid of it. So this is the point where I have 12 eggs here. These are free-range eggs.
Nice.
And I'm going to crack all 12 of them in here. After I do that, I'm going to put a cup of milk. It really doesn't matter what kind of milk. I happen to have whole milk, so I'm using that. And I'll put that in the blender with the eggs. And then I've got some pepper jack cheese and sharp cheddar cheese, and I'm going to shred it while letting my heart lead to tell me how much cheese goes in there.
I love this.
Then I'm going to add salt and pepper to taste. I'm going to add the green chilies, and then some hot sauce to taste. Then it goes on the blender. I blend it till it looks like really, really fully blended. Then you pour it in, you put it in the oven for 1 hour,
Not too bad.
and then it's done.
Excellent.
Yep.
Thank you for that intro.
Absolutely.
All right, Liz. So while you're getting started here, I'm going to give us a little bit of facts about black pepper.
Love it.
Black pepper is considered a fruit when it's in its little corn phase, which I thought was interesting. It is the most widely traded spice in the world. It makes up 20% of the spice trade. It is originally from southern India in a region called Malabar, and it's a vine, which I also never knew.
Oh, I had no idea.
Yeah, so it is one of the most widely used spices in the world, just like salt. And it came into the rest of the world and out of India during the reign of Alexander the Great in the 4th century before the Common Era. So a peppercorn, before it's been dried and allowed to ferment a little bit in the sun, is called a drupe, D-R-U-P-E. That's the name of the fruit as it is before it's pulled off the vine. So let's see, and you can sort of prepare your peppercorns through all various stages of their color, from green to white to red. It kind of depends on when you've harvested them, what color they'll be when you dry them and ferment them in the sun to become the corns that we end up with in terms of our spice. So some of the magic, there is a very long history of magical uses and magical workings with black pepper. I could go on and on and on because it is so multifaceted, but I'm not going to, because I'll just encourage you to do your own research if this is the kind of stuff that you're interested in. One of it's associated with the planet Mars in terms of magic. It's most predominantly used in retaliatory magic, like revenge magic or protection magic. One common and kind of beautiful way that I learned about that I've never tried, but I'm thinking about it since having done this research, is a protective candle for your home. You can take like a pillar candle and stud it with peppercorns, and then as you're burning it, that creates sort of the protective aura in your home of the peppercorn itself. You can also take ground black pepper along with some salt and sprinkle it in the path and footsteps of unwanted guests' energy. So like if you've had people in your home, after they leave, you can take some of the ground pepper and salt and sprinkle it through along the path that that person has been, and it can help cleanse your home and your space's energy of that person. And that could be anybody, somebody who just brings bad vibes into your home. It's not anything that's going to harm them. It just protects your energy in your home, really. There is revenge magical uses for black pepper. I'm not going to get into that here, but there's a very long history of using it in things like goofer powder and hot foot spells, things that are from syncretic traditions of getting back at or finding justice for yourself in the community, right? So that's kind of the history of pepper that I mean, there's plenty more where that came from. So black pepper's used heavily in protection magic. The second is probably even more prolific, and that is the egg. So first off, I just want to send up thanks to the chicken, because chickens sacrifice a lot for people. Yeah. They give a lot to us, and they are very loving creatures and very awesome companions to have. If you have chickens, which I recommend getting, if you have any way to keep chickens, you learn so much about what generous little spirits they are. They're very funny. They each have their unique little ways about them. And they give so much to people. They give of their body, they give their eggs, they give their feathers, they give their down, right? They give a lot to us. So some of the first information I have here around doing egg cleansing is from a website for a woman named Esoteric Essa, E-S-A. I would look into her website, Google Esoteric Essa egg cleanse if you want to know specifically how to go about you doing an egg cleanse in the Latine tradition, which has a very long tradition in the syncretic magical practices of Latin America. It's called the limpia, which means cleansing. You can use eggs to absorb all kinds of negative energy. And the way that happens is that I might take an egg here that was in a whole form and go all across either my own body or Liz's body, just like this, and where you really cover energetically the body, head to toe, with the egg. After it's been washed in salt water, that's a step that you want to use first. Then after you've kind of run the egg across the entirety of your body or the person who you're assisting with this cleansing, you take the egg and crack it into a glass of water and then let it set for 10 minutes. Now, Esoteric Essa has all of the information about how to read the egg cleansing, read the egg itself in the glass to understand what you're up against health-wise. Bubbles mean something, strings of the white part of the yolk, or whites mean something, cloudiness, spikes in the yolk, they all have different meanings. And it's important that if you're going to incorporate egg cleansing into your magical workings, that you understand how, which is why I would refer you to this woman's site. It's really useful. It's not been a part of my practice, but I'm definitely interested in learning more about it. There's additionally, this is a way that I use eggs, which is a practice called Cascarilla, which is taking the shells. So Liz could take all of these eggshells right now if she wanted to, and use either a rock or a mortar and pestle and add some kosher salt to this and crush up the shell and the salt together. You could also use black pepper in this as well. And then you would take the powder that's a result of that and sprinkle it where you need protection, either in the corners of your home or around your sleeping space or at the exterior of your home, all around it. They're very powerful protective. And using eggshells in magic is called Cascarilla. So it's a really beautiful and long-standing, both of these practices are very ancient. Use of the eggshell and use of the limpia, limpia cleansing. There's also a term which I learned in research for this product called Oomancy, Oomancy. This is from Greece and Rome, in which it's kind of similar to what you would do in the limpia, where once you've cracked your egg into a bowl of water, you use the egg way it shows up in the water to divine the future, basically. And it was used a lot in Greece and Rome. And then additionally in Mesopotamia, some really ancient practices of decorated eggs. There have been examples of painted eggs from as long ago as 60,000 years in Africa. Ostrich eggs were found in burial sites. Eggs have been used in graves in Samaria and Egypt up until, it's in the record 5,000 years ago. And then Christian practices borrowed this practice of eggs being a symbol of resurrection, and then began carrying forward the egg as a symbol of resurrection. And we get Easter eggs, it's thought, through Orthodox Christianity. I'll make sure I'm in this shot.
Yeah, there you go.
Orthodox Christianity, I saw in some of my research that because it was at one time, or at least in many Orthodox religions, you're not to eat eggs during Lent. So when chickens...
Oh, I didn't know that. That's so interesting.
When chickens were still laying eggs, they don't stop for Lent.
Right,
so,
right. No one tells them.
Yeah. So there became a tradition of dyeing the eggs red to replicate the color of the blood and the resurrection. And then that's a celebratory way to honor the divinity of the resurrection.
Oh, I had no idea it had that symbolism tied to it. It makes sense now with Easter and Easter eggs everywhere that are
totally
all over the place.
And I was wondering for how long the egg has been a symbol in Christianity, and it sounds like it was borrowed from ancient Samaria and Egypt starting around 5,000 years ago, and then I guess around Mesopotamia. I mean, what would that be, like 2024 would be the beginning of the Common Era? I mean, not 2024, but year 1 or year 0.
Yeah.
Is around
around that time.
Yeah, so.
Wow. Long time ago.
Yeah, so long history of egg use in magic and divination and in protection. And I've never had a limpia with an huevo, but I've had another different kind of like plant-based limpia. Really wonderful ways to cleanse your energy. And
I had no idea.
yeah, so anyways, that's that for that.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to blend the eggs now.
Wonderful.
So, you don't have to blend them very long. And that's one of the things I love about this recipe is that it's not a lot of like, you have to do this specific thing for this long or do this much. It's a lot of like whatever looks right to your eye. And
Yeah.
I really appreciate that. So. So there's some like little bubbles on top, which tells me some air got in there. You just pour it in. Then our oven is already preheated. So I'm gonna go stick it in the oven.
Perfect. It's nice too for folks that are trying to get away from frying, maybe.
Totally, yeah, and it's I'm really hoping it does, but I'm going to set a timer for an hour.
Perfect.
And I really hope that it does in the oven what I told you it would do, because it will be much more fun to look at. Okay, so, all right, I've got an hour timer going.
Excellent. I'll come back to film the pulling out of the oven and showing how we plate it and serve it up. So I just spontaneously had to come out here and film this because Liz is showing me around her beautiful garden. Look at this gorgeous herb garden. We live in the Pacific Northwest, so we don't have the greatest growing season for year-round gardening, but this beautiful rosemary looks so happy there, plus the sage and oregano. Got some thyme in there, it looks like.
Yep.
Is that parsley or what's that right there?
This is parsley here,
Yeah, okay.
and then this is mint.
The bees are loving it. I see bees all over the place.
Big pollinator energy going on with all this.
Liz mentioned this is kind of a bed she lets grow wild, and here's a tomatillo that's just starting to come in though. There's a little
I love
guy.
this little green lantern.
Yeah, they're beautiful.
Yeah, they're so
Plants. And then look at this absolutely beautiful artichoke plant. I wish I could capture how many bees are just buzzing around here. I love bees.
Yeah, I love the artichoke flowers for the bees because they just like submerge themselves in the giant pool of.
So awesome.
That's very fun. And then this is asparagus.
Very nice. Those get kind of sharp.
Yeah, this we planted the crowns 2 years ago. You're supposed to let them grow all the way up 2 years in a row.
Okay.
To kind of like really build out a root structure. And then next year we'll be able to finally harvest them and eat them.
Awesome.
And then our tomatoes are back here. Some basil hanging out. That one I just bought. That basil I just bought at the grocery store.
Basil's delicate. It looks happy here.
Oh,
Look
I
at
planted
it.
last week. We'll see if it makes it. But the tomatoes are finally starting to.
And is this a grapevine?
Yeah, this is a grapevine. My husband and I built this arbor this year, so
Yeah, how
we're
exciting.
trying to like train it to go
Yes.
over here and along here. So
Very
that's
nice.
the plan. And then let me show you my favorite thing.
Okay.
In our compost bins,
Beautiful. Look at these
this
babies.
tomato volunteered growing out of the side of the compost bin.
That's
wild.
awesome.
Very fun.
And I can see just enjoying sitting back here.
Oh yeah, we do
Yeah.
that all the time. This is the last corner to get the sun at our house. So
And all these, are these raspberries here? Yeah,
We,
I love
all
raspberries.
these raspberry plants started as tiny little plants from one of our friends here in town. We planted them and they love it here.
Yeah, they seem to be thriving.
Yeah, they love it in a big way.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So we're getting ready to pull this out here. Oh, very exciting.
Almost done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, can you smell it?
I can smell it. It smells delicious.
Yeah, very, very cheesy. I mean, you saw the amount of cheese. I didn't even put the amount of cheese that the recipe calls for actually because it's like an unbelievable amount of cheese. It calls for 4 cups of cheese, which even for me is like, whoa. Take it easy. So I'm going to go ahead and stop this timer now. We're just going to see what's going on in here. So if you'd like to come check it out.
Yeah, let me get more of a close-up.
Okay.
Good thinking.
Let's see.
Beautiful. Look at that beauty.
Yeah, so sometimes it'll get a lot more puffed up, but this is still, like, you can see it gets like this little crispy edge. So I think we'll probably grab a knife here to just like test it in the middle, make sure that it's coming out clean.
It smells really good.
It is. Yep, I think it's all done. Okay.
Is this the kind of thing where you have to be careful not to stomp around or else it'll fall?
No, I mean, it's going to fall. That's why I wanted you to get the shot right when it comes out of the oven. Because
okay.
It's just kind of, this is when it looks its prettiest.
Yeah, it is pretty.
It's kind of fun. It's always, I don't know, I always feel like when my family sits around, I'm always wanting to get the little crispy edge myself. 'Cause it's okay.
Beautiful.
Plate it up.
Let's do it.
So I just got a big spoon. There we go.
It smells good.
I know. Well,
And you said you might top that with salsa sometimes?
yeah, sometimes with
Okay.
salsa. You can do more hot sauce. I think I have a little actually avocado that I'm going to put on top, which I think will be kind of yummy.
Yummy.
So maybe I'll go get that out of there. So it's not looking that pretty on the plate right now, but I promise it'll taste good. Yeah.
Like Gordon Ramsay always says, the flavors are there.
They are, Cynthia. They are. It's gonna taste really good. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm just gonna got an avocado, and again, what I love about this is you just kind of put whatever you have around. Like last week, my husband and I, or a couple weeks ago, my husband and I made this, and we did some oven fried potatoes.
Yeah,
that
perfect.
went along with it.
Yummy.
And those were really delicious. But today, it's going to be avocado. So a couple little of those guys.
So gorgeous. Thank you for cooking, Liz. And thank you for agreeing to be on here with us.
Thanks for having me, Cynthia. This is really fun.
I'm not going to film us eating it. I'm going to let us enjoy without the pressure of filming. So
Good thinking.